We're going to give a brief progress report where we've come from last year, where we're up to now, progress with the Federation. I'm going to talk about one of our main aims has been to try and make general practice feel better for people working within it, and so we're going to tell you about some of the new services we've introduced, some of the new members of staff, and give a report really on are we really starting to make general practice, at least starting to make general practice feel a bit better.
Tonight I'm going to be talking really about the finance that's behind the organisation, how we got to where we are, and how the organisation Salus, together with the CCG and NHS England, has invested something in the order of £1 million and next year £2 million in the local healthcare community.
The benefits of working together are starting to show. The Federation works across local practices, across local localities, and I think we are starting to make general practice feel better. But there's a long way to go with it. And so we're going to, part of the message is an optimistic one. We've got things started, we've got new members of staff, we have young GPs telling us that things are feeling better, but on the other hand, there's a long way to go. There is still a recruitment crisis in general practice. The numbers for practice nurses look very difficult. So it's a mixed message of, it's optimistic, but there's a lot of work still to do.
We've achieved one of the major goals we set out to achieve, which is to create a vehicle that can deliver primary care at scale. That's one of the things that we didn't really understand when we started. Nobody really knew what that meant. A lot of work and effort has gone into achieving that. So now we've got an organisation that can actually realistically work across different practices and deliver primary care services.
Really good to see people from general practice, people from the CCG, colleagues from other provider organisations, and a very big welcome to some members of Salus' own staff. So we are a federation of 23 local practices, which means effectively we're a company limited by shares, and the 23 local practices within the North East Hampshire and Farnham CCG are our sole shareholders. Our business is providing high quality services, sensible services for patients, and working at scale across practices and working across and within localities. We have gone from nothing to creating a vehicle that is capable of delivering services, and through the good auspices of the CCG, NHS England, so on, we have invested, or we will have invested this year, close on £2 million into general practice and primary care services in our locality, and that's money and people that weren't there 2 years ago. And hopefully, coming to what Nick was saying, that's what will ultimately make general practice feel a little better.
We're going to talk about what the future of general practice potentially holds, and I think they're doing some great work here locally, but the future could be anything. And I think if I was going to try and have one message, it might be that the future's there for them to create themselves.
What will the future of general practice look like? I guess the first question is it going to look any different? Because there's an argument, and I don't know how many GPs you follow on Twitter, but basically general practice hasn't changed for the last 70 years. So if the status quo is working for us, why do we need to change going forward?
It was quite revealing to see the way that Salus has grown over the last 2 to 3 years. We started off sort of humble, small beginnings, but the figures speak for themselves, and we're quite impressed with today.
It was nice hearing from a Salus point of view how we're doing, which obviously is nice to hear with it being so new, and obviously also the different things that are in place or people are talking about with regards to the changes that are going to be happening within GP practices in the future and things.
It was a very interesting evening. It's nice to actually see what the Federation is providing now. Also very interesting to hear of an interesting different perspective on general practice for the future.
I found it really interesting. I learnt a lot more about Salus and the organisation, how they came about, where they would like to go to, and also just hearing a bit more about the changes for GP surgeries. Really interesting.
The kind of working environment that we're looking at planning in the meeting today is the type that will attract, hopefully, young GPs in the future. GPs come in, they look at workload, they look at visit rate, they look at the wider support networks that they have, they look at the quality of life in the job. And it's all about helping deliver good patient care, but also helping general practice be a more enjoyable working experience for not just the GPs, but the whole healthcare team.